it's Western ways are we're quick learners. So Western ways kind of took on and destroyed the world, right?
Yeah.
When you look at ancient cultures and the conservation of goods, you know what I mean? Like they cared about that shit.
Yeah.
But once the powers got to be like, okay, what's the fastest way to wealth is consumption, and just this big beast of consumption just enveloped the world, and basically that's where we are now, right? Is the cost of
yeah, it's well, it's just like, so I did start recording because it's interesting, you touched on the topic of socialism, which is like when everybody's pulling from the same pot of resources, and we all understand that we're all taking from the community, then there's a mindfulness to it. But I would say that here in the Western world, in the communities and organizations that we are organized into are so large that we've lost touch with what we are consuming, and it's a mindset, it's a culture of consumerism, and it's cancerous in a way. I mean, I agree with you on a lot of things. There's some things that we don't agree on, which is great, and this is kind of a reason why I want to be able to talk to anyone about anything, and show people that you can have disagreements with someone and learn from them and intellectually expand and grow. But
what we have in common are the things that are way more important than everything else.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. The threat that we have in common, no matter who you are, where you are in the world, are the things that unite us unequivocally. You know, and that's where our commonality is. That's where we come together. And if we don't, time is the other thing against us. And we can see what the machine is doing. The machine is capitalizing on every aspect of societal collapse. You can see how it's shaping society, shaping who's left, shaping who's got the say, and really, it's all just a big theatrical, hierarchy of fucks, like I've written. It's just every aspect of the system will devour itself or jettison itself from whatever is collapsing away. It has a foothold on the structure of society, and what is no longer useful to it, it will jettison. So all these people supporting it, this and that, they don't even care. They just use that as a pillars to maintain the power structure that's been holding it up all along, right? And it was so easy to feed the population boom. They fed it with consumption, and God, before we knew it, we were I don't know how long, in what the 70s, it was 3.5 billion, or it's in my lifetime.
It's strange. So you've seen that, and it's something that I was born into. You're a generation older than me, and interestingly enough, my father's 2 generations. Well, I can't quite tell exactly how old you are, but I know you're at least a generation before me, and I know my dad, he's 72, so it's definitely, he's way, and I'm 33. But it's it's hard for me to grasp that concept because I was kind of born into it. But when I look at my town that I grew up in, Durango, Colorado, it didn't have a Walmart when I was first there. It didn't have any Home Depot.
Well, it happened fast, man. It happened fast, right?
Yeah, and then my dad said that when he got there was only one stop sign in town, or stop light, I think, and that most of the roads were dirt and or gravel. It's hard for me to comprehend that, but just in my own time, anytime I go back down south home, it's crazy how much people are there, and it's like a mini city, and it's this archetype of cities. It's once they have this program, right?
Yeah, but that's what built up the structure of consumption, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The supply and demand all in one. So we put on such a demand on resources as though there was no fucking limit, right?
Yeah.
And when capitalism doesn't care about anything other than what's making money, you know? And when it's not making money anymore, that's what's happening with society. And that's what's happened with COVID. It's simultaneously happening that we can't maintain this line anymore because, you know, our expectations of our lives depend on a certain level of income, which has become meaningless and non-reflective of what our output and return is for our output. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say? So the fucking cost of living is so intense that we can't even afford the lives that we've created. It wasn't even affordable to begin with. You know what I mean? And we got it all on a credit basis. And really it was all the future, you know, all the potential, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not just that there's not plenty of gold in the ground or steel. It's the fact that we can't, the lie has become too big to maintain. And simultaneously with the American dream was a fucking lie, basically, you know. But we came in, we're born from a colonization of natural fucking land. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just indigenous nomadic populations lived here, you know. And we went in there like, you know, manifest destiny, and it was like go to town. And they knew, fuck, you know what I mean? Like they knew what they were doing, man.
Yeah.
I really think all this Agenda 21 shit and all this, they knew in advance. I think their algorithms, they understood the limits to things. I mean, they have fucking people working on their economics fucking 24/7. Every company does. So they could predict what was going to happen, how long it was going to take to start to collapse and come apart. They can say whatever they want. Whatever's left after the next 2 years is going to be nothing like me and you if we all don't do something about it. It's going to be the most ruthless, heartless, fucking unempathetic people, just, you know, maintaining their wealth, their comfort, all at the expense and knowingly, because you can't fucking hide it anymore. You know what I mean? And I've been dumping into people's faces daily, you know, like we are not, this method of existence is not sustainable fucking beyond, you know, like beyond, it isn't at all anymore.
It just doesn't add up. Yeah, it does not compute. So to kind of sidetrack or segue in a bit, like, so you take you're saying, you know, unless we make a change. So like personally, what changes are you making to have the impacts that you want to see in the world? Like, how do you operate?
All I can say, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Well, all I can say is, the absolute fine truth of everything is that almost we're at a point now, like we're almost like dominoes in falling motion.
I know that's a thing that you sent, that GIF where it's like a small 3 millimeter domino hits one that's just 1 point whatever bigger, and then it's just enough to knock over the next one, but the next one's exponentially bigger, exponential. So
that's it. Now that's the science behind what we've done.
Okay, but what my question is what exponential changes are you willing to make? What sacrifices are you making personally, changes that you could recommend to people to?
Nothing can change unless the narrative changes.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I can personally do. I other than light my fucking self on fire.
I know.
There's no point.
I know it.
There is a big thing between I don't know, like I've been privy to all kinds of fucking psychology videos and stuff like that. I've in different school and otherwise, and just things I've been interested in. So I understand how, the communication diagram, but there's something in between the fucking the truth is there, and so that is the message. The message is the truth, and it's all these things we know are true, fundamentally true about the world. We know that we live on a living planet. We live on a planet there where it's like, it isn't magic. It's fucking science how the whole system operates. All of our science has fucking told us this. There's no magic. There's no magic. All these people that are super spiritual, if there is magic, there's something that we know is magic in all the connections of the natural world. We know that there's something magical.
The
We know there's something we feel.
Right? It's
Yeah.
that interconnectedness.
But we are the only conscious being that is can visually see and wrap our heads around the predicament as it falls. So if we're the consciousness of this planet, right? If we are, and right now we are fragmented and divided and everything. But if that consciousness ever came together under a commonality of purpose, which is pretty simple, it's written in every fucking culture. It's understood, and it's love, and it's fucking treating others the way you want to be treated, recognizing, they programmed fucking empathy right out of us. That's what I've been trying to wrap my head around. What the fuck is wrong with the media? What's wrong with movies? What's wrong? They've been programming empathy right out of us, right? That's
it's weird. Right. Well, it's kind of like, I would say it's like in a reverse kind of way, because instead of like the love, like you said, they're like fear. That's all there is fear and division. And that's what, when you're isolated and divided and separated from, the basic governing unit is the family. And we can go into that if you want, but it's like the family has been destroyed. So
absolutely.
There's no resources contained within the family. So like men and women's families, posterity is taken from the state. People want to just leave the home as quickly as possible, and we have all these nursing homes in the West, so it's not like in the East, where I have an understanding where the family units will stay together more, but it's like you're divided, so you're in fear. So I'm over here living by myself, in a diogenistic way, kind of saying fuck society, trying to be an individual. And so I'm at more risk because I have nobody to that has my back. So it's like that's what the media has done, I think, is kind of like inverted everything, and there's no good stories, because I always heard it was like when if it wasn't bad news, there would be no news, right? Like, you ever heard that adage? So it's like, and that's what's selling, right now, is that fear. And like you said, you tied that in with the crown virus, with the COVID, and I don't know, I don't think I'll trigger any crazy algorithms, because I don't have a huge channel with 1 million people. So that's what's good about me, is I'm starting small, so we can say what we want, and it's an uncensored. These are the kind of conversations that need to be heard, which are, your basic laymen, if you will, discussing real issues. And it's like health has definitely taken the main view, but they're taking something so minuscule like a common cold, if even that's what it even is, but it's like health has become an issue. And what we're talking about is the health of the society, the health of the planet, the health of our resources, our mental health. The topic is health, but they control the narrative. And it's like, whatever they put out there, they tell you what to think, care about. But basically, the media is supposed to be the watchmen. They're supposed to be the watchers. They're the ones that are supposed to let you know the problems. But it's just, I don't know, it's so weird, Randy. It's like,
well, they've set it up. They've set it up so that your people don't know what to believe. So the people still watch their trusted news source, and some of them watch it, and some of them watch it with like, oh, I'm paying attention now. But really, nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. First of all, everybody is confused about, and I've been saying since the start of COVID, it's like, okay, but the right conversation's not being had about how COVID is affecting the world. You know what I mean? It's
No.
not being had at all. Like, you know, like it's not. And then to even suggest that there should be a debate on whether or not to make a fucking vaccine that's pretty much wiped out the fucking world, and it has, the whole way it's been treated has wiped out the world, isn't open source, fucking free to make sure
No.
that everybody can, you know what I mean?
I
So
know. You're in
clearly
Canada,
there's,
right? You're in Canada, and it's
yeah.
already socialism up there. So it's just
Yeah, but it's still bullshit, dude. It's
no,
still
I'm not
fucking
saying
bullshit. The way,
socialism's good,
no,
but
no,
it's
but I
just
mean, the way Canada's run, it is like a fucking, it's a snooty way of fucking the way the United States does it. You know, only there, that the only thing that's fucking still good is the healthcare system. Whatever's left of it, it still exists, and you're still, you know, entitled to it as a citizen, right?
yeah.
But it's not ideal, and it's been getting two-tiered for fucking like since I've understood what that means back,
Oh,
you know.
I hear what you're. Yeah.
So,
So there's different. That's so
oh yeah,
great. That's wow.
and you're on a list if you're poor, and then if you've got other money, you're getting fucking first rate treatment. It's just this the way it is, right? And then they kid themselves about fundraising for this and that, but you know, the fact is, health is an industry, and
Yes, that was my point with the COVID. Is
yeah,
it's like you're like saying what capitalism is like what makes money, you know, and healthcare makes money. So they just hyper. It's some kind of, they hit the turbo boost button or something with the healthcare system, and they're like, well, let's make well, we know we're at the point where we can tell people basically whatever on the media, and they'll do it. So a lot of people are doing these really unhealthy things, like, you know, wearing a mask, blocking their airway, which is physically and psychologically unhealthy, and they destroyed the economy, you know, and that creates psychological stress, and people aren't making money, so that's going to also create more crime. But like you're touching on a lot of really important issues, which is like what the actual virus did is nothing to do with like your physical danger of catching an illness. It's destroying people's mental health, their relationships, just suicide and addiction,
oh yeah,
and families, people going home, like domestic violence. Man, shit, I'm homeless.
and
Go on.
and look what it's done to everybody. Everybody, like I started writing a song the other night. Just I'm in this town, and I always thought, like, I mean, this town, it you know, it's sold as this beautiful postcard town, and really that's all it really is. It's a fucking postcard. It essentially only works in the glance and the look and the fuck, you know what I mean? Like it's but even since COVID though, the song that I was working on was it's like it's a postcard of a town, and I'm looking everywhere and there's no one around. Everybody's inside, right? Everybody's fucking inside
Yes.
watching Netflix. We're basically cocooning into our fucking little comfort zones,
Mm,
and they're getting away with murder in the real world, the real
yeah.
streets, the real poverty, the real fucking starving people, the real people getting fucking, you know, and there's a wealth transfer going on,
Yeah.
and that wealth transfer, they're still banking on you know, a monetary hierarchy that, you know, that they're going to jettison the majority of the population. As things get more and more difficult, they're going to jettison the population. And anybody that thinks they're not, you know, once the grid collapses, fuck, it's everybody for themselves. And
Yeah, and that's a potential, you know, that's something that
oh yeah,
we're all facing, and that's like you said, we're all collectively facing it. And the more and more we pick out and point fingers at like individuals, like even like as much as I loathe the government, it's just it is. I take you know, you just touched on spirituality and these super spiritual people, and they're being like, you know, no magic, and science explains that. And I think I look at science as magic in a way, because we're using these devices. I'm talking to you
well,
instantly,
yeah,
face to
well,
face.
definitely stumbled on something with technology, right? But
Right.
technology does not beget life. You know what I mean?
Well,
There is,
I mean, it's hard to say because I've heard that with just frequencies, they've like manifested life in petri dishes. Schumann, you ever hear of the Schumann frequency and the Schumann resonance? I heard that he was able to
yes. But all of these things are amazing discoveries, right?
discovery.
But you can't be fucking so focused in the laboratory that the fucking entire medical fucking or scientific fucking wing is on fire, and you're going to ignore it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we're
All of these discoveries are, all these magical discoveries are within our grasp, but we fucking jettison the future while
yeah,
we're focused on all these technologies, right? I mean, like, we need a living fucking breathing planet to exist on. It's the only reason why we're here. Where the fuck? When I might just say there are no miracles, I meant there's not. We are the fucking manifested miracle chance that the fucking planet had.
I
Right?
agree. I agree
Yeah.
because what is our consciousness and our intelligence for if we can't only apply it in what appears to be a destructive means? And this is why I'm going to circle back. Is like I like really I've identified a lot with Taoism and like Confucian kind of like self-governance is if you govern yourself really well, that then society will govern itself. And it's like I don't know too much about the history of Confucius, but the Taoism part is pretty cool because it's the only thing that like religion and spirituality, you know, claim to do is give you inner peace, you know, but I've found it extremely hard to have my inner peace recently because, you know, I look around and it does look like everything's just decaying and falling apart, and but also that's a natural process too. Also it's just, you know, you have your growth, your peak, and then you're peaking out and then you start declining, and it's a natural thing. So is humanity doing that? Is the planet doing that? You know, if all things that are born and have life will grow, decay, and die. So it's like theoretically, even a universe or world, a god can grow and die. So it's like there is a philosophical component to all this, which needs
absolutely.
yeah.
I agree. Yes, but you know, she didn't die of natural causes. You know what I mean?
Right. I hear you. Yeah, because it's like it seems like we're just
Entropy,
throwing
we understood entropy for quite some time now, right?
entropy,
And
not
we are the accelerator on entropy. You know, the fact that you know, eventually you know, there's a depletion of energy, you know, eventually, right?
yeah.
But we were the accelerator on that, you know. And she didn't die of natural causes, you know, like. So I don't know, like I imagine, like, you know, I don't know. I just think that it's possible to inspire the entire world to be focused on the same fucking thing, because
I
we're all
believe
suffering the same thing, but it's a very negative thing, and that frequency is shared whether you're conscious or not.
yes.
Even people that are fucking like, you know, they have everything they need, but they're depressed right now. They can feel that there's something wrong with the world. They know that the world isn't right. It isn't just a pandemic. It's been fucking wrong for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is possible to inspire the world in such a way that there could be some sort of renaissance where I don't know, like where the you know, the disgusting psychopath, brutal, heartless person stands out like a sore thumb in this new fucking renaissance of thinking and being, that we could somehow do something. And who knows? Maybe we can develop the computer system that will do everything we could possibly do in whatever time we have to preserve life on the planet. And I don't know, like who knows? You know, who knows, right? You know, but if we don't do anything, nothing will happen, and we're basically just you know, we're closing ourselves in on the train off the cliff, you know, basically, and you know, that's great and everything. I mean, you need to find yourself, you need to find your tribe and all that stuff. But I mean,
Yeah.
somehow I think that we can be on the same frequency. And if that were to happen, I don't know, who knows? We don't know what would happen, you know?
Well, I
We
think
haven't
it
been,
would be a
yeah.
snap of a finger fundamental shift.
Yeah, it would, right? It would. Essentially,
Because
it would change everything.
it's like
It would change everything.
you ever hear of the 100th monkey theory?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's a very popular theory, and that's where, you know, we like uh we agree on that. Like I on 100% believe that what we believe we become, and that beliefs are the most powerful thing that a human can have, because it gives you hope, and it's something that you put in your imagination, and that is, you know, like you said, it's an unconscious thing that we all can feel, you know, is that collective consciousness, if you will, and what you're sounds like what you're describing as the collective unconscious or the collective subconscious, because if it were a conscious thing, then we would all be working towards the same thing. So what it appears to be is that we're all operating at a suboptimal level of our intelligence, and that but I do honestly agree with you 100% that there has to be a way to inspire everyone, and that this idea of group change can and shall and should come about, and that's like what gives me hope. And I know you do your own thing, like, you know, and that's all we can all do, is we can all only do our own thing, which is like, I know you like to write music, I know you're a deep heavy thinker.
I think, but I do, I think we've all gone, if we're all here and talking about this, we've all gone through incredible changes in our lives to finally be able to express and articulate what we see as right and wrong with the world. And I you know, for the most part, learning is a very difficult thing, and it takes a lot of you know, it takes a lot of cuts and bruises, right, in your life.
Yes.
Right.
We learn through pain, and that's where like the moral scale comes in, or
yes. But the thing we share, and which is why they've been turning it off for so many years, is a collective empathy. Like the reason why cat videos are so popular is because people like cats, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious, right?
Or they're just they're great. They're great creatures, man. They're highly entertaining, and they're the polar opposite of dogs, because a dog he loves you no matter what, where a cat's like, hey, you're cleaning my shit out of my litter box, and you're living in my house, like your job is to feed me. Like the dog's like, I love you no matter what, you know, like the cat's more conditioned. But yes, like there's an empathy towards goodwill towards mankind, you know. That's what, you know, we all are under the impression that humanity is sorry, there's just some noises over here, and I'm in a truck stop, so I'm like got distracted. But no, that it's true. There is a common empathy thing, and the problem is that it's not a universal. We're not looking at humanity as a family, and we want to be like, okay, well, he's a Democrat, he's a socialist, he's Chinese, he's black, he's gay, he's a lesbian.
That's almost primal to our tribe mentality. We look for identities that we identify with.
Yes.
And also something that's like, there's a bias that we have. It's identity bias, and it's this bias that we have is very difficult to shake, and what is required is you know, people have to feel like they're part of the momentum of change. They don't, you know what I mean? Like no one wants to I don't know. No one wants to be the first to stand up and like put it that way. That's the best thing. I remember being a kid and watching a standing ovation occur, and actually being in it. And it's like you could see it on everybody that people are afraid to stand. They're
There's
like,
a tension.
I don't want to be. Yeah,
so
I know. I don't
it's like the one thing that breaks through the surface.
Yeah, and suddenly they're in the spotlight, and they're not sure if they're going to be the few that stands up and looks like fools and everyone else. So nobody wants to, that's just it, right? And I've experienced it before, and just as an observer, and then I've experienced it as the person that said, "Fuck it, man, that was amazing. I'm standing." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but it is an energy that is primal to us, and it is something that it is one of the keystones like that we need to figure out how to break, because these are the basic pillars that are holding back change and the willingness, because people like I know I've lost so many people that just stop listening to me because they're really uncomfortable with what the things I have to say, like really uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's and I can't blame them, but at some point, imagine how they make me feel. You know what I mean?
It's I know what that feels like too, Randy. And it's just the hard truths, man. And it's like you have a really hard truth, and it's like, let's say just to touch on it, like, the polar, let's say we will live in a water world if all the polar ice caps melt, and this fundamental balance of resources tips,
but can I stop you right there? A lot of our fucking ideas about what the future is going to hold have been corrupted by fantasy fiction,
Yep.
and I'll tell you right now, the other feedback loops are gonna, like, the water issue is like, I don't know, it's like I don't know, it's like shot, pissed on, and buried in bird shit. You know what I mean? Like, by the time you're dead, you don't care if you're buried in bird shit. It's pretty much done. So you know what I mean? So
that's a mentality.
I'll tell you. No, what could happen? If you check out those guys that were talking, the things they were talking about are fucking heavy, but it is true. Like the atmosphere is going to change. It's going to change much quicker than we realize. We have no idea. We have not begun to grasp because extinction is such a big thing. We have not begun to grasp the exponential factor. And it is I'm not very good with remembering names, and it's just because my brain doesn't work that way. I suppose I can remember all the measurements I cut work today, but I can't.
You're a carpenter, man. That's something that we got in common too. I've done some framing here recently, and I love music. But who were you talking about? I mean, not who. What was he talking, or what were they talking about?
Well, just that. Okay, where the fuck was I, guy? That's
well, you're talking. We were talking about the atmosphere and what we're doing to the atmosphere.
So I mean, all those other things are going to come. As part. They were likely. The oceans will rise, but the fact is, our atmosphere will cease to be something that can, number one, produce food, and number two, will make the most important components in our food chain. In the people are saying, somebody was you posted something. No, somebody posted something about that they're going to eat bugs now.
Oh yeah, that's been a thing that they want to.
Oh yeah, I've heard that years ago. But the fact is, when the sun fucking is too hot in places, desertification, the bugs are going to die. The bugs. We're already proven that most insects in these rainforest type places in the islands where they test, it's basically what they call insect apocalypse, and basically they've lost like 95% in fucking places, but on an average about 75%. You see it now. I mean, I posted a picture about a guy in 19 what was it, 1998, complaining about the bugs on his windshield. They're all smeared, you know. And then
A few years later,
in 2018, there's no bugs, and he's got a big smile on his face. And then in 2028, there's no fucking guy and nobody in the car. You know, like it's the bugs are why we here. That's where we come from, man. Like we come from, you know, we're all in the same place. We're all part of the same tree of life, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's great that you even mentioned the tree of life, because I study Kabbalism, or the Kabbalah, and that's mystical Judaism. And you know, the tree of life and the tree of knowledge are both in the Bible, and then the tree is also mentioned in Nordic lore, and the tree is mentioned in basically all of the fundamental religions. But I love how you touch on the microorganisms and the microclimate, which is the microbiology is fundamentally important, because that's where the fundamental nutrients come from.
All life begins.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've you know, according to science, like we've been evolving and evolving and evolving, and consciousness is growing and growing and getting to a, you know, this level where we're at. But consciousness started in the mineral kingdom, and then it evolved into a single-celled organism, and then it's gotten more and more complex to where we're at. But the microorganism, the health of our bugs, our biomass is like most of the biomass on this planet. A lot of it, like there's more insects when we talk about biomass. There's more biomass in these smaller life forms like insects, and then you go even smaller into like the fungi, and the fungi is probably even a larger biomass, and then you go into a more you know, smaller level of existence, or a bigger level. You think about just the mineral kingdom. Everything is minerals. Like we're made out of the earth and the dust. It even says that in the Bible. So, but it's like
okay, go ahead. I'll finish that. I'll
well, we can't neglect the microorganisms, and I think it's just it's a sin really for them to try and take out a virus. Like, let's say the coronavirus was real. You can't kill a fucking part of nature. Like, it's like we've succeeded supposedly in extincting so many animals, but it's like you're literally trying to wage war on a microorganism, one of the smallest living life forms. It's not possible, and it's not healthy. Like what you think the virus has no natural component in the ecosystem? It's a part of the tree of life, you know. So you got to tend to it. Like every other level of life, we're supposed to tend, like we're the stewards of this planet. We should be the stewards of this planet. We got to look out for our microorganisms and our nanoorganisms and our plants and our animals. Like everything has its place, and it's like we're just trying to find our place, I think.
Yeah, but all that is true and fine and good, but you know as well as I do that we've had like we've been poisoning our fucking water system for
Roundup, glyphosate,
all along. Roundup and everything else. Like if you think about, I remember just try to grasp how much chemicals are in people's homes. Like, you know, with from paints to like acids to, you know, like the amount that, you know, here it's Canadian Tire, you know. I don't know what it is in the States, but you know, it's like you can, like the amount in one Canadian Tire could poison the whole of Canada. You know what I mean? And the houses are like year after year. Where do they do? Where does most of this stuff end up? It's in your ground. It's in your waste system. And where does that end up? Down the river.
It goes, it's a cycle. So they put the chemical fertilizers on the plants, and then it goes into the dirt, and then it filters out into the water system, and then it evaporates into the air, and then we're breathing it. It's like, and that's that kind of shit is what's killing off the microorganisms,
and us, and causing cancers.
yeah, yeah,
In
exactly. And then that's how they're making money off of the healthcare system. And now
yeah,
we've
yeah,
come full
yeah,
circle. Well, obviously we're going to get sick and die quicker because we're poisoning ourselves. And
yeah.
look, that's
So
what
that
makes
was
healthy people.
that was the depopulation thing. That was factored in too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you can't you can't depopulate a virus.
no.
It's going to keep going and keep going, and until it runs out of food, right?
Yeah, like a parasite or whatever. But I was even having this conversation with my beloved fiance, and then my one of my buddies. I like to point, it's just like it has a natural function, like and that's why I'm not try to not get too bent out of shape about what humanity's doing, because it's doing what it was meant to do, because we're, obviously we came from nature, so we're part of nature. Maybe we're supposed to cause this extinction, or
No, I
maybe,
don't think so. I disagree. I
yeah,
disagree. I
it's
disagree.
fine.
Like, I mean, I think because we are because it breaks our heart to fucking even
Yeah,
think
and I'm
about it.
not saying
You know what I
that's
mean?
what our fundamental nature is cruelty and destruction. I'm just saying if that's what's happening, then that's what's supposed to happen, kind of thing. But I'm not gonna have like a fatalistic or nihilistic, like
Yeah,
this is what is happening and this is what has to happen, because I believe in change. Like Gandhi inspires the shit out of me, man. That guy was like incredible.
yeah.
Be
Well, I
the
mean,
change.
it's our chance to prove that we have the choice, as a collective, right?
Yeah. And
Because
it's
otherwise, we're just following a prophecy. A
yeah.
prophecy of destruction.
It's so weird because I've been studying the Bible a lot, especially since the pandemic, and since I've been out of jail, I've been able to have access to a bilinear Bible, so I can look in the Old Testament and see what it's these words were in Hebrew, and get like a grasp, because that's what the Kabbalah is Hebrew mysticism, and then the Greek words too are pretty fascinating, and I like to study language. But you look at the word, this is something pretty amazing. This gentleman on YouTube named Odd TV pointed it out in one of his short documentary clips. Whatever it was, pharmakia is a Greek word for like basically a magician, somebody who conjures up poisons and such. Where there's a healing component to all these poisons, but it's a very small amount. Like alcohol is good for, like, teething on kids, like, you rub some liquor. I've never, I don't think that ever happened. But also it's like you can purify a wound, you can clean a wound with alcohol. It has beneficial, these poisons are beneficial in very small amounts. But what we've done is we've just turned it all into making all this chasing after money. And it's like, man, if the only thing I would do with money right now is get a piece of land and try and grow organic food, and I really don't like. It would be nice to have a whole lot of money at my disposal, and honestly, I pretty much do, because I'm American. I live in the first world. What my potential is great. I could take a little tiny bit of money and turn it into a lot of money, but it's just that drive to get money is what's keeping us in this myopic vision of just putting the fucking blinders on, and not like, oh, I just got to get enough money and then I can survive. And it's like, no, let's focus on thriving, not surviving. It's like we need to thrive, not just one week to the next, one paycheck to the next. And it's like,
We're just we were hoodwinked into thinking that this is how we had to live. But it's been the way for it's incredible. I'm not, I'm going to be 50 this summer, and like I was a kid when they were still cutting trees with chainsaws, before all the big equipment started coming, and
yeah,
they, and it's incredible. They've cut down the entire north where I'm from. It's all gone, man. It's fucking like there used to be forests, and now there's no more forests. They've 80% of the land mammals are gone. And it's because that's the way it is all over the place. And
well, I know that these damn trees grow back. I'm not gonna. I understand that we have clear cut forests, and we did destroy a lot of that redwood forest, like we were talking about earlier. But it's like
95%
that
is gone.
forest. Now I didn't know we killed. I know that we've killed a lot
Yeah,
of
95%. 95.
It's
Isn't that
hard to
incredible?
imagine. So those damn redwoods would have been like all the way out into like Nevada, or you know,
Yeah,
they would have.
I don't know. I don't know how far they span, but man, like, wow, to think that that long ago we affected the, it wasn't even that long ago, really. What, a
It
century?
wasn't really too like a couple hundred years
Century,
ago,
okay,
150 or something like
150, yeah, 150.
or
Yeah,
so. It's hard
yeah,
to say, you know, and it's like how far do we have to go? Like how far do we push the envelope till we rein ourselves in? And that's I
well,
think we're at one of those points right now.
we're
And it's
there.
like you do have a sense of urgency about you, and that's what I like is that, you know, and it's like whenever I've like reached out to you on Twitter, you're like, I'm writing a song, like I'm busy, I'm in the creative process, and it's cool, man,
Yeah,
and I admire that, and it's like you really do want to inspire change, and you're so passionate, and that's kind of what, you know, like I was like, I don't care what we talk about, just like, you know, let's have a good conversation, and I've enjoyed it. And I just kind of want to like maybe circle back into your name of like your handle is the ghost of Diogenes, and it's like if you know any of what Diogenes has written off the top of your head, some of his quotes, because I never really looked into his quotes. I was just inspired. You kind of pointed, I don't know if I discovered Diogenes before I met you or after or whatever, but just his lifestyle, his attitude of like fuck society, you know. And I
yeah.
heard he was the emperor's kid and he had everything that he ever wanted, but then he decided to like counterfeit some money, and then he got kicked out of the kingdom, and then he was like, well, fuck society, kind of he was the original cynic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he saw it for what it was, right? From the beginning, and whether he was, you know,
He was questionable character,
well,
obviously.
he absolutely was questionable, but he also, was like a mirror back on the world, right?
Yeah, no, that's a
And,
good point.
yeah, so yeah, he absolutely was a mirror back on the world. And so I'll tell you how I discovered him. I have an apprentice that I work with.
That's
You know,
cool.
well, he's just a son of some wealthy people that I work for occasionally, and but he's a he's a young socialist, and so he's got interest in that stuff because he feels that the same way I do about a lot of things. And so we're talking about philosophy, and he sent me a link to Diogenes. Now I heard of Diogenes a long time ago, and I actually remembered him. But he says, you the things you post and the things that you say, you sound a lot like Diogenes, like. And so then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all about that character, and but the quote that he sent me was, or the story that he sent me was the one about Alexander the Great, who
Yes.
we sought him out and said, I'm Alexander the Great. I really respect everything you have to say. I like your attitude, kind of thing. And is there anything I could do for you? And he tells him, basically, get out of my fucking sunlight, man.
Yes, man, get out of my view, man.
How badass is that? Like
Telling
nothing. Like, yeah. It basically, to me, it says that the truth trumps everything. There's no man on this planet that trumps the truth, and there's nothing truer than nature. And I've been like, just by weird dreams that I had throughout my lifetime. I once I understood the predicament of the world, all the, like, the Book of the Dead and the warnings that were way back, and the prophecy we seem to be following. I understood. So I understood that what's essentially going to wipe us out is the energy force that nature had developed an answer for, with all of the natural biological elements and elements at her disposal. The power of the sun. And the sun god Ra was you know, like the reason why they sacrifice to the sun is, and why it's so connected even to Christianity, the light of the world, you know,
Familiar.
the sun, the sun, you know, like
And literally the
with
sun.
an
People
O
don't
or
think
with a,
that.
yeah, but with an O or a U, it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
It's sun.
exactly.
And
It's like it,
essentially that's what's coming, you know, it is the sun. And
that's
yeah,
fun. That's cool that you point that out. Yeah, because it's like, you know, we're heating up, like shit's heating
oh,
up,
yeah.
kind of,
It
right?
is the power of the sun that we will answer to. You know,
Yeah,
ultimately,
it will wilt us away before. That's why I find it pretty cool, is like if we are like, you know, malefic or meant to die or whatever, yeah, the sun will wilt us away. It will take care of us. It'll dry us out. You know, it's not going to dry everything out. It'll just,
yeah. But the reason why I respect what Guy McPherson says is all of those things, all the like he's the reason why
I like
uh
Guy. He's
oh
cool.
I think he's
He's like a
excellent, but the reason
philosopher.
why his word is so much more important, and I can send you a video that it's another one of Tim Bob's excerpts of a conversation with Guy, but it's absolutely excellent, and he explains it why a biologist is so much more important is that uh, um, um, uh, uh, he understands extinctions. I mean, it's to understand the tree of life is to understand how we went through each extinction, which
Mhm.
life sources carried on. But the most important thing to remember, and what made me start to think beyond my my limited life of which was incredibly fulfilling just the same. But you know, as a father, a carpenter, a member of society, I went to a natural museum and I saw this thing that said, "We are 1% of all life that ever existed." Okay, therefore, so that's a big tree, and we're this little thing on the end of it, and we're on the living planet that this tree of life evolved to cope with basically the power of the sun and everything that happened within this little dance of all the you know, the miracle that maintains, you know, so a naked ape could become conscious enough to, you know, adore itself and please itself with any which way it could. But essentially, we've gone through this evolution, but we are that little pin on the head of that tree of life, and with the advent of radioactive components to this world, it is something completely, you know, it's just we just kept piling it on, like way beyond what possibility. Like there's no fucking precedent for what the earth had to handle compared to what we've done. We've essentially taken everything out of the earth that was put away, that maintained our existence. You know, all this carbon, which life itself was trying to deal with. What is the mass of a tree if not complete carbon? It sucks the carbon out, creates atmosphere so we can breathe and live. And we've not only taken all that carbon out, we've cut all the things down that can balance the system. So we've stacked the deck so high against us. If you imagine a pin being the balance, not a teeter-totter, because there's no bottoming out, and you push everything to the side as fast as you can, that pretty much sums us up. And when you do that, you know, there's only one way for it to go. You give it no other direction.
Yeah,
And
it's
that's
gonna
where we
tip.
are. That's where we are collectively. And I just think that there needs to be enough people with enough, you know, understanding about our predicament that we can come together on a consensus of what we really do face as a without borders. What do we face as a species that's completely out of time? And do we just let the psychopaths fight over the resources of the world
Oh my
and
God.
jettison or do we start showing solidarity right across the board? And I have some ideas for that. You know, I have some ideas for how we can build solidarity. I really do. And it's been almost impossible for me to articulate them because they're like, you know, like Have you ever imagined something that you answered something and then you forgot what the answer was? You know what I mean? Like you're like, I know what that is, but and now it's quite different now that we're in this digital world where you can just search up anything and you answer any question you want, usually within means. But it's like that for me. It's like I can't access it without without backup, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Without the courage to articulate what it is. I'm almost there. I'm almost there, but I haven't been able to speak as this person that's beyond the carpenter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I've been the carpenter my whole life, and now the carpenter knows that every tree that we cut down is less time we got. Every if I don't know if you saw Seaspiracy on Netflix. You see that?
Seaspiracy?
Yeah.
Negative. I have not had enough time to indulge in much more Netflix.
Well, okay, I know, but this one is fantastic because it basically says the ocean part of our feedback loop that's fucking us beyond our imagination. It is one component of the whole thing, and it's the phytoplankton in the ocean are being toxified by plastics, and when that collapses, the ocean's going to acidify so fucking quickly. It's going to be and we're doing that. We're doing that right now. We have enough technology to put everybody to work on ways of environmental change, and we can free all the fucking madness that people are because they're stirring the pot with everything just to divide us. They're stirring the pot with everything, social issues and racial issues, and they're just trying to prevent the class war that would devour the machine. And anyway,
that's so cool, man. I love it.
Anyway, so I think there's still time to do something, man. Like I really do, and I'd like to. I've got like I don't know. I don't know how much time we have. I think.
As long as you'd like. I mean, we've been over just a couple minutes over an hour.
Yeah, I know. I think
right
I'm
at an hour.
My girlfriend is kicking back now, and she's had a long day, and I'm gonna go and hang out with her.
Yeah, I mean, and I appreciate your time, and about an hour is about it's a lot to give to people, and it's about how podcast shouldn't be much longer. But thanks, Randy, and if you'd ever like to come back on or invite me into a conversation,
I got really good vibes from you right from the get go.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know you're honest. I know you're honest, and I know you're definitely interested in doing the right thing.
Solutions, yeah, and that's why
that's the kind of people I want to associate with.
We need to get this conversation going and then expand it and expand it and expand it. And it's just, this is what I feel like I can do. But anyways, I just want to let you go and bless you and I'll keep you in my prayers and thoughts, brother. Like I really appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, later.
Good talking to you.
Likewise.
Bye.